I'm glad I decided not to do the cheese strat, because hey, at least we got to hear the music for a little bit longer, and we got the catalog for each Ninja Koopa, which turns out is a little bit different, so that was almost worth it. But now, we got another Peach section. Gonna be honest with you guys, I kind of just want to skip through this text, because it's mostly just Peach being worried about Mario and other stuff. Well, I will go through the dialogue slowly, but if I start to sense even the slightest bit of repetition, I will not hesitate to use the Merlin method over here. I will apply it. Hey, just you wait and see. I will apply that method right then and there. And it's very, very dangerous. Oh, of course it's going to be impossible to escape through a window when you're like several hundred feet in the air. You're going to fall and become a peach pancake. Come to think of it, is peach an actual flavor of pancake? That doesn't sound too bad on paper. I think you have to factor in the maple syrup. Wait, didn't we just get maple syrup earlier? Oh. Food thoughts. Apparently, if you come over here and examine the bed, you get like one-time dialogue that Peach is like no time to sleep. That's not a lot of dialogue, though. So you're probably wondering how to escape this room. Well, you gotta examine this little drawing, painting. There's a button behind it. Pushing this button unlocks a door through the fireplace, which is pretty nifty. I will admit, it is pretty nifty how they do that. And this is how you escape the room. You will be doing this every single Peach intermission, just about. So get used to seeing these screens and actions a lot. I think I might try to trim it down for repetition's sake, but it's barely anything, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's left in. Do not escape through the door. Can't do that right now, but you can come over here and take a peek into this diary. Now, if somebody just left a private diary just lying around, should you read it? Only a little. So, only a little, but I'm not sure if that really makes a difference, though. So by reading Day 00 Month Star, that doesn't make any sense. Today I went to Star Haven and stole the Star Rod. And now I'm invincible. Wow, I'm getting deja vu from that. I also captured those 7 Star Spirits. So this is obviously been written by Bowser. This is Bowser's diary. It's kind of funny to think about. Dinner was also nice but a bit bland. Wow. Only a little more. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. Used the castle with Prince. Yeah, if it didn't give it away before, it gave it away now. So, but if you read through, eventually we will get a new piece of information that Twink is going to want to deliver to Mario, which will obviously tie into Chapter 2 proper. I don't know how people view the between chapter stuff, but I don't know if people consider like what we're in now to be like the prelude to Chapter 2, or if it's still like Chapter 1 aftermath. I don't know. I guess it's semantics, but it would be better for the sake of the Let's Play right now, just consider this Chapter 1 aftermath. But we're getting a little bit of build-up for Chapter 2 either way, so, you know, that's pretty nice. Dry Dry Ruins. The Mystery of Dry Dry Ruins in Dry Dry Desert. Actually, now that I think about it, is this the first time in the Mario series that Dry Dry Desert is a thing? Because I'm pretty sure they actually brought back that name for some racetracks in Mario Kart. One of the Mario Kart games, possibly more than one. I don't know if it's a reference to Paper Mario's Dry Dry Desert, though, but if they're using the name, that could be another subtle nod to the original Paper Mario. Yet, not really any other Paper Mario game. Oh, that's another thing, too, regarding Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers didn't really reference Paper Mario or Mario & Luigi all that much until, like, Super Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS. Yes, that's what those games were actually called. It was the final title. I was surprised, but it is what it is. Alright, it's weird, but it's what they decided to go with. So I don't know what else to tell you guys. But, yeah, it wasn't really until that game we got a Paper Mario stage in those games. And then, like, barely any Paper Mario or Mario & Luigi stuff prior. I think we got, like, a Mario & Luigi song remix in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Like, just the one? Randomly? But Yeah, for a long time, there was barely any Mario RPG representation in Smash Brothers until Wii U 3DS and Ultimate, funnily enough, the latest game in the series. Alright, so the Peach interlude is over, as well as any filler I had to talk about. We've rescued our first Star Spirit proper. Meet Eldstar. When he's going to mention his name or not. But when you free a Star Spirit, they will give you a little bit of their power. An ounce of their power, as it were. And there are 7 Star Spirits, so you will get 7 Star Powers. Each Star Power you get gives you like a little bit more of a Star meter, Star Energy meter. We are obviously not going to do that tutorial, that's a waste of time. But every star you rescue gives you a little bit more Star meter. And Star meter is a brand new thing. You can't upgrade it any more than what the story allows you every time you rescue a Star Spirit, as it were. So you will cap out at 7, and you start off with 0. After Chapter 1, Koopa Brothers, you get the Star Spirit. You'll be brought up to 1, and let me see if I can pull up the HUD. Yes, I can. There we go. It's all good there. Yeah, no need to save because we just saved. But now we can blow up this wall, and boom. We go through this pipe, and we are going to run into another badge up here, thankfully. They do seem to come at a pretty good pace. This badge is going to be FP+, which is the equivalent of HP+. Funnily enough, actually, I think we're going to do that swap. We're going to swap for FP+. Let me check my items real quick. Okay. I don't think we're going to be using any items in battle for a while, so let's unequip Refund, re-equip Dizzy Attack. Close Call is meh. I would say Hammer Throw is also still going to be meh. Wow. HP+, FP+, Power Jump. Yeah, this is looking pretty good going into Chapter 2, I guess. Yeah, it's going to be pretty good. Left into this screen, I believe here we need to keep an eye out for this branch over here, because this is where we can collect the Star Piece. Alright, so that'll bring us to 9 total, but we've already used 1, so we're currently at 8. Shouldn't be too terrible math-wise to figure out, as it were. Let's keep heading west, because we need to get out of here already. We're done with our business here for now. Let's switch to Goombario for no particular reason. But, actually, I want to show off before I forget. If you push C down, or right analog stick down, with Goombario anywhere, he will give you a brief synopsis of the location that you are in. I'm not sure if it's different for every screen, but there it is. Just like he can tattle information on enemies, he can do it for locations as well. Hold it right there, Mario! I've been waiting for you. Wow, I wonder who this could be. Oh god, it's Troopa! I told you I'd be back. Now I'll get my revenge. Here it comes, baby! Check this out! Wow. What a way to make a comeback. After, like, barely a chapter. Mario, I'm talking to you! I promised you this fight will be much different from before. Hey, you're Junior Troopa. Yeah. You need to mellow up big time. Shut up! You, Mario! Of course you remember me! No. What? Darn it! You don't remember me? Listen, you big lug. My name is Junior Troopa. Remember it and tremble. After this beating, you'll definitely remember it. Not really, but it is worth mentioning that every time you refight Junior Troopa, annoyingly enough, you have to re-tattle him. I don't know why they decided to do it like that. It should be like, you tattle him one time and you should have him down pat every time. Although, to be fair, when we fought him last time, we didn't have Goombario. We also didn't have Koopa or Bombette. So, we actually have a lot more stuff this time around than the last times. That's pretty funny. So, Junior Troopa retains his 2 attack power he had towards the end of the fight. the last fight, he gets an extra defense point because he's in his eggshell, and his HP has tripled. So that's a big difference. He now has more He has more HP than the fake Bowser. As much HP as 3 of the Koopa brothers. Which is kind of insane to think about. So if I had another Thunderbolt, that'd be pretty good to have, but again, it doesn't really matter all that much. Power Jump does good damage. He even makes a comment on that. Who knew Mario had such battle skills, right? Yeah. So you definitely want to try and block his attacks, but if you have HP, FP+, doesn't really matter that much. The extra FP from FP+ will make this go by faster too. So we do that. The highest damage you can do is swapping to Bombette and using Bomb. So we're just going to do that, why not? So, Power Jump. You can also use Smash Charge with your hammer and just charge it up for a long time and do that. And it's kind of funny to do that, to be honest, but it's probably faster just to use spam Power Jump and Bomb, to be honest, so. We didn't even lose 5 HP. I didn't even have to use Refresh. Wow. Let's go out with a bang. Bomb! Bye-bye, Junior Troopa. Wow, that really wasn't very challenging at all, was it? Alright, but 42 star points is pretty good to have going into Chapter 2. By the way, you can just keep whacking on Junior Troopa as long as you want. I don't know when he despawns. He probably despawns as soon as you leave the chapter. Or leave the screen, to be honest, but it's whatever. So let's head back into here. Twink shows up to give you the lowdown on what just happened with Peach and finding out about Dry Ruins. Honestly, guys, you already know. I'm just going to skip through this because you already know. Like, come on. He also congratulates you on defeating the Koopa Brothers, which is nice, but again, largely unnecessary. Episode 3, I think, and it's already happening then. So if you check the post office, you will have a lot more letters to peruse. And by a lot, I mean 1 for Cooper from Colorado's wife. By the way, if I accidentally say Colorudo instead of Colorado, lambast me for it in the comments, especially all you Spanish speakers out there, because God, I need a smack in the face if I let that slip through. More than the one time I just did. So if you head down here, hey, mister, my dad's opened up his shop. Don't you want to take a look? It's really cool. It's a badge shop for badges. All you had to say was badge shop, and you already got my number. Alright, so this is your badge shop. You can come here and buy badges. I'm going to buy Multi-Bounce. Multi-Bounce costs 1 badge point and costs 2 FP. It's not terribly useful right now because your jump only deals 1 damage. I'm also going to want to buy Speedy Spin. This also only costs 1 badge points, but by equipping it, your spin can go a longer distance. So now we actually have something we can equip besides the stat boosting badges. Gotta be honest though, I'm kind of tempted to keep FP Plus on, but let's equip Multi-Bounce and Speedy Spin and can't really get anything of anything else. I think Close Call for now, to be honest with you guys. And now our active badges are Power Jump, Multi-Bounce, FP Plus, Close Call, Speedy Spin, and Dizzy Tech. Very excellent going into Chapter 2. I want to check my items. Alright, maple syrup, bunch of mushrooms. This is looking good. I think I'm going to try and hold on to the PAL block for a little while. But, off screen, between the last episode and this one, I actually bought a Volt Shroom from the Koopa Village shop. And I want to bring that out real quick for later. I mean by later, like a minute later. I also want to bring out a Goom Nut. Oh, I didn't mean to get a mushroom, but okay. Let's get a Koopa Leaf and leave it at there. Let me put the mushroom back in there. Actually, how many mushrooms do I have? Way too many. Okay. I'm also going to put the maple syrup in storage. And we are down to 7 items, I believe. You know what? I think I'm going to store the PAL block for now, too. Just so I have another item slot. And this one's pretty good. 6 items. Alright. let's get out of here. I guess since we're here, we'll check back on Luigi real quick. There's something else I want to do after this too. Okay. Oh, Luigi's just singing a song on his rock, but you can blow up the rock with Bombette. If you come back here in between each chapter, Luigi will be up to some new type of shenanigans. Hi, Mario. I figured I'll have an adventure sooner or later, so I'm training. What's that? The dry desert? Oh, sure. There's a train that goes there from a Toad Town. Hey, maybe I'll tag along. No, you sure? Just give me a chance, bro. And now let's go back to the mailbox and actually check what's what, because that's something interesting here now. We have 3 letters from Little T, Vanity, and Koopa Brothers. You rat, Mario! How dare you embarrass us? I'll never forget what you did. Hey, watch your back when you walk at night, dude. I'm gonna make you cry, dude. You'd better sleep with one eye open, pal. Oh, that's a change of pace. One day they will return. Something about Little T, and I think this guy is trying to train at the dojo to save Princess Peach. Yeah, we're already on that. And Vanity is Chuck Quizmo's assistant. Basically, this letter's just at the top tell you about Chuck Quizmo stuff. So. Alright, and we're back in Goomba Village. We're only coming here to show off one thing that I'm pretty sure if I don't show off, a certain someone I know will really get on my case. So, if you head back to the veranda, there's a shooting star item over here, which is really powerful for this early in the game. Targets all enemies and does 6 damage each. Okay? That is a lot. But, actually, I believe on this note, this is where this episode is going to end, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to head back to Toad Town real quick, alright? We're going to jump cut right over there. And we're back in Toad Town. So we want to head south from here, because now you can access this part of Toad Town. Actually, a lot of Toad Town is opened up now. And what we want to do is head over here to meet, Tasty. Because she makes tasty food. Alright? So if you bring her an item, she will attempt to cook this item, and more often than not, it will produce a good result. We'll start with by giving her a humble mushroom. And we will allow her to cook this mushroom. Thankfully, the cooking process is sped up tremendously, because normally cooking food can take a while, and the recipe's not too bad. So now, we went from a mushroom to a fried shroom. An item that restores 5 HP to an item that now restores 6 HP and 2 flower points. A very excellent item to have during the first 2 chapters of Paper Mario. And if you have any leftovers for the Chapter 3, that might still be useful there too, but by that point, it may depend on your stat spread. Because this is generally pretty good because it'll recover a good chunk of your health and give you enough flower points to do like a power jump or something like that. But in general, it's probably going to get outdated after the first 3 chapters. Voltrum, on the other hand, if you have Tasty cook this, you will get something that will probably be relevant for a lot longer than 3 chapters. This is basically the upgraded version of Fried Shroom. That being a hot shroom. A snack made by Tasty restores 15 HP and 5 flower points. So that's basically all of your HP at this point in the game. It's probably going to be most of your HP in Chapter 3 as well. Maybe even Chapter 4. And 5 flower points is enough for 2 attacks. Easy. Okay? But you can also have her cook a Goom Nut, which normally only restores 3 FP, which is solid, but we're quickly but surely getting to the point where 3 FP isn't going to cut it anymore, especially with Chapter 2 coming up. So, you have her cook a Goom Nut, and she will make a Nutty Cake, which restores 10 FP. The same as a maple syrup, but Goom Nuts can be found for free in Goomba Village, so that's the advantage. You want to have her cook as many of these as reasonably possible. So we're going to have her cook another Goom Nut to have another Nutty Cake. But this Nutty Cake, I believe we're going to put in storage for future reference. But do have at least one for Chapter 2, because you're going to be burning FP a lot if you know what you're doing. So you want to cook the other 2 mushrooms as well. I think 3 fried shrooms should last you all of Chapter 2 easily. And if you have any leftovers, I wouldn't really cook any more for Chapter 3 specifically. But if you have any fried shrooms left over from Chapter 2 into Chapter 3, by all means use them there. Alright, so we got another mushroom to cook. And after that, we're going to cook the Koopa leaf. And what we get from cooking the Koopa leaf, you're also going to want to put in storage for a side quest later on. And you probably already know what the side quest in question is, but still. You can also have her cook a fire flower, and you will get something called Spicy Soup, which restores 4 HP and 4 flower points. It's not bad, but I feel like it's too well balanced for what it is. Koopa Tea restores 7 FP, which is solid, but we have Nutty Cake for that, and you don't want to use this. You want to store Koopa Tea for a side quest later on for Koopa Koot. You also want to buy a Tasty Tonic and put that in storage as well. So here's the other Toad Town shop, by the way, which I'm showing off for convenience sake. We're going to store Koopa Tea, Tasty Tonic, 1 Nutty Cake, which will leave us with 3 fried shrooms, a nutty cake, and a hot shroom. Honestly, I'm kind of tempted to put the hot shroom in storage too. So 3 fried shrooms and a nutty cake will do you very good for Chapter 2. You can buy Volt Shrooms here for 5 coins cheaper, so 10 coins gets you a hot shroom easily. 20 coins for a super shroom, not very worth it. 20 coins for a Thunder Rage is a very good deal though, because this is basically Thunderbolt at group level. Daisy Dial and Stone Cap is an interesting item as well. It turns Mario to stone and makes him unable to move for a while, but it also makes him invincible to all attacks for a while. So it's kind of a trade-off. At any rate, we have 4 items here. I do have a power block in storage that I'm probably going to want to wait until we get closer to the end of Chapter 2 to bring out at the item shop at that town. Because there's usually a town in every chapter, more or less. One way or the other. So this is West Toad Town. We're not going to be exploring much more than that for the time being. We're coming back here to South-ish Toad Town. I want to talk about this Blue House. So there's this glitch called the Blue House Skip. It's a very good glitch. It's also very difficult to pull off. It's practically frame perfect. The idea is, you do a spin, you jump, you get on a seam on this building, on the model of this building, and you have to do another jump ASAP to get on the roof, and by getting on the roof, you'll actually, like, fall through the roof. It's kind of funny. But, I don't know. It's pretty tough, generally. But you want to come here and talk to this flower. Yes, you can talk to a flower, because by doing so, this creature called a Bulb will give you something called a magical seed. There are 4 of these scattered throughout the land, and you will need all 4 seeds to make it to the end of the game. This isn't the side quest. This is mandatory. It may not seem mandatory at first glance, but I assure you, it is. I also want to bring attention to this. This pipe is the entrance to the Toad Town sewers, but we're not going to be covering that for a little while, because it's more convenient to wait until later to shut it off. You come down here to even further south Toad Town, hit this tree, and enter this pipe, and we will enter the Toad Town Playground. Talk to this toad. You have a silver credit from Koopa Koot earlier, and this will allow you to do the jump attack minigame, which I don't really feel like showing off, because I think all you get are coins, but that's just something to keep in mind. Now, we have 30 coins left over. I also want to bring attention to this. This is the Little Oink Farm. For 10 coins, no, we're not going to do that. For 10 coins, you could produce something called a Little Oink. There are a bunch of different kinds of these pigs, and depending on the kind, this is a black one which will give you a dried shroom. How do you get an item? when you get to a certain number, I want to say 11, the oinks will start running away and drop off items. However, if you enter the area that they're in, they all run off. So you want to make sure you do it for the right item, as it were. But at any rate, also, before we end the episode, let's head over here and blow up this rock. That'll be important for later. So that way this choo-choo train can go on through. But though, in terms of the temperature, because we're going to be taking a train. What is the name of this train again? Oh, thank you, Mario. The train's back on the track. All aboard. This train is bound for Monterey. Are you coming, Mario? Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but hey, it's better than that Toad voice I was trying to do a couple of episodes ago at this point, I think. You know, trying to imitate how Toad sounded around the GameCube era because of Super Mario Sunshine and all that other stuff. For better or for worse, it's probably better that Nintendo shifted away from voice acting for Mario games outside of, like, grunts and stuff, because, yeah. Interesting that they've been trying to do more voice acting in other games like Zelda, though. Even though there wasn't really a lot of that in Breath of the Wild either. But then again, is voice acting truly necessary with games like Zelda and Mario and all that stuff? Now, Star Fox, that is a series that definitely needs it. At any rate, Chapter 2, The Mystery of Dry Ruins. The silhouette on the bottom may remind you of an enemy from Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario 64 called the Chain Chomp. Which means we might be seeing an enemy like that later on in the chapter. At any rate, though, passengers heading for Dry Desert or Dry Outpost should proceed directly over Mount Rugged. So before we get to the desert, here's another Toad dressed up in desert attire. We saw one back in the prologue. Check these bushes as usual for coins and or other items of interest. One of these bushes in particular, wow, I can't believe they got 3 coins from bushes. An egg! Kind of reminds you of Junior Troopa, doesn't it? Maybe just a little bit. I do like this waterfall over here. It's a nice touch. As we head forward, we see a stone block. I think we might have seen one in the prologue. I don't know if I showed it off or not, but we can't destroy this block right now with just our measly wooden hammer. So I guess we can just move on forward. Here's a heart block for future reference, by the way. And, no, confound it. Where could it be? Uh-oh. What's this now? Ooh, it's Parakarry, the male paratrooper from the beginning of the game. Wonder what he's up to. Oh, sorry, folks. Very sorry. I was looking for something and not watching where I was going. What now? Aren't you Mario? Why, you are. You're the Mario. Hello there. The name's Parakarry. I deliver letters. I'm normally a letter-perfect postman, but I'm having a bit of trouble with a lost letter. Wouldn't you know it, I dropped it on Mount Rugged, and now I can't find it. If you happen to stumble upon a letter anywhere around here, please tell me, alright? My job could depend on it. I'll be searching this area thoroughly for a while. Alright, so we enter Mount Rugged, and already we have to go on a fetch quest of some sort. But I assure you, the reward for the fetch quest is quite worth it. Before we proceed further, though, I sense an enemy incoming. Yep, meet the Monty Mole, an enemy that originated from Super Mario World as well. Early on in the game, we're already noticing a lot of enemies returning from Super Mario World specifically. We have the Fuzzies, we have Monty Moles, and there's going to be an enemy later on in this chapter that also originated from Super Mario World. But don't worry, it's not just enemies from Super Mario World that are converted into RPG enemies, you know. They wear sunglasses because they have really sensitive eyes, or maybe they're just hip. Well, I don't know. At any rate, though, the Monty Moles represent a noticeable shift in terms of enemy strength. However, the reason I bought the Multi-Bounce badge is because Monty Moles have 3 HP and 2 attack. So what you can do is you can use Multi-Bounce to do 1 damage to all of them, and they will be They will have the same HP as a Goomba, basically. So now, we can... you know what? I'm going to finish off the Monty Mole with a hammer, because Whack-A-Mole. And now we can finish off the other Monty Mole with Goombario if I time it right, which thankfully I did. So there we go. That takes care of Monty Moles. Another good attack you can use against the Monty Moles, actually, is Cooper's Power Shell. But let's head over here and destroy this regular block and meet someone by the name of Wacka. Wacko! I am Wacka! Just another picture-perfect day atop Mount Rugged. Woo! The sunshine, the fresh air, so refreshing, wackadoo. But you can hit Wacka with a hammer and he produces something called a Wacka's Bump. Restores 25 HP and 25 flower points. And if you sell it in the shop in Toad Town, the first shop, not the second one, you will receive 64 coins. So at this point in the game, you should probably store the item to sell, honestly. But I would say, like, midway through the game, those start being, like, a really good healing item. Not the best you can get, but definitely solid. At any rate, there should be another Monty Mole here, and bada bing, whoa, what the hell? Okay, it's not like I needed the first strike there, but basically, that encounter was a trio of Monty Moles, and I just did multi-bounce and power shell, and they were all knocked out, because that does exactly 3 damage at this point in the game. And it only costs 5 flower points, so it's not that bad. Okay, we're going to have a bunch of enemies that spawn here, but I'm trying to stay on the edge so they don't spawn. And you see a badge over here. This badge is the Quake Hammer. We can't get that right now. But we can get this letter, which Parakarry is looking for. Here's the thing, though. There are actually 3 letters that we have to collect, as it were. But let's head over here, and you notice an auspicious-looking rock. Well, here's the thing. That rock is a fake. If we have Bombette blow up near the rock, we see that it's actually an enemy in disguise. This enemy is known as a Cleft, which I'm sorry I couldn't tattle it because I literally just one-shot it with Bomb. The Cleft has only 2 HP, 2 attack, and 2 defense. 2 of everything, basically. So if you have the D-Down Pound badge that you get from Ralph's shop, it penetrates defense. So basically, D-Down Pound for 2 flower points instantly kills the Clefts. I'm not going to be too worried about that right now, though, because the Quake Hammer does a very similar thing, but actually better. So let's get the tat out of the way. This is a Cleft. Clefts are pretty strong, so you better be careful. A Cleft is like an indent in someone's chin, and some people will have it, and some people won't, as it were. Their specialty is pretending to be rocks, so watch your step on the mountain. You'll get hurt if you jump on the spikes, on their heads. There's courage in running away. Here's the thing, though. Clefts give a lot of star points. Like, no matter what point in the game you're at, if you're facing off with a Cleft type of enemy, yeah, they're gonna give you a lot of star points. So, sadly, for right now, the best option of attacking Clefts is Bombette's Bomb. Although, thankfully, you don't necessarily have to max it out. You just have to get close. You just have to make sure that her bomb does 4 damage, and factoring in the defense, you should be all good there. Alright, so now I think I'm going to keep Bombette in the party for the time being, for obvious reasons. We're going to head over here. This is actually where we need to go to progress through the desert, but there's a big gap over here that you're just going to jump down because, well, got nothing better to do. And this Cleft, oh. Yeah, getting the first strike on a Cleft with Bombette's Bomb is usually pretty tricky if you're not able to get on favorable terrain, as it were. Such as this example coming up here. Let's see if I can do something like... Ooh! Well, there we go. That's what I'm talking about, okay? And our flower points are looking pretty good, too. Get to the second window over here and drop down, and you'll get a handy-dandy star piece over there. Quite a few to find here in Mount Rugged, and there's going to be at least one that we aren't going to be getting on this first visit, but we will be getting it on the way back from the desert during the Chapter 2 intermission, Chapter 2 aftermath, whatever you want to call it. Take the slide over here. We have another Cleft. And boom! So far I've been pretty good with the clef first strikes so far. I think I only missed one, and thankfully that didn't result on a first strike on me. So that's a pretty good... Uh-oh. And this one might be... Ooh! One could argue that bombing clefs is a fun pastime. Particularly when you're able to be as lucky as I am with being accurate. I believe there's going to be a Monty Mole around here somewhere. Yep. So this is why I recommend equipping a Flower Point Plus badge, because having the extra 5 Flower Points gives you a lot of versatility with being able to use your moves to make the fights go by a lot quicker. Anyway, let's head up here, somewhat hidden niche, to find the Damage Dodge badge. Alright. So Damage Dodge is sort of a Defend Plus light. There is a badge called Defend Plus, by the way. Equipping this decreases Mario's damage by 1. It costs the same as Flower Point Plus, so I believe when I'm ready, I will probably be swapping from one badge to the other. Before we do that, though, let's see if we can't knock out... Nope. Well, my luck would have to run out eventually. But yeah, there's a star piece over here where you can't get that right now. I know what you might be thinking. Why not use Kooper's Shell Toss? Kooper's Shell Toss will not reach that far, sadly. Before we head down the slide... Oh, man, not another freaking cleft. And he doesn't even take the bait right away. Okay, hold up. There we go. And we're actually really close to a level up right now, and now I'm thinking about it. I might just level up, I might just go ahead and level up Flower Points proper. That way, by doing that, I essentially get 3 badge points, because I can unequip Flower Point Plus without really losing anything. That's the great thing about all these HP Flower Point Plus badges, and there's multiple in the game that you can find. So it's really no big deal there. At any rate, we now have all 3 letters, so be mindful of the moles, and let's head back to where Parakarry is. I think it's just one more screen from here. By the way, I'm pretty sure you can go ahead and grab another Wacka's Bump while you're at it, so yeah, probably best I didn't jump cut there so I could show off the fact you can get 2 bumps, basically. 3 if you want to, because you're going to have to come back through here again after you talk to Parakarry to give him back the letters, which we are about to do. I guess we'll swap to Goombario just for the heck of it. I don't know. But let's go ahead and hit the heart block. Not that it's going to matter very much because we're going to level up very soon. And give the letters back to Parakarry. The order doesn't really matter. Oh, that's the one. Thanks for finding it. I'm so relieved. Actually, I'm also looking for 2 other letters I may have lost. It wasn't my fault, really. If you find them, could you... Thank you so much. And I think when you give him, like, these 2 letters, he says, like, basically the same thing, that it was an accident, he's scouring them. But you give him the 3rd letter, and here it is. The last letter! You found it! Now I've got all the letters I've lost today. Oh, thank you so much. You're a lifesaver. I wish there were some way I could repay you for your help. Actually, to be honest, I haven't just lost letters on Mount Rugged, you see. I may have sort of dropped some all over the Mushroom Kingdom while I was flying. Yeah, you know, you're good at finding letters. Do you think you could keep an eye out during your travels? In return, I would offer you whatever help I can. And you do want to accept Parakarry's help. So now Parakarry joins the party somewhat conditionally. He's basically only tagging along because you're helping him clean up his mess, as it were. Whatever the excuse is, though, I find that Parakarry is, like, one of the best party members in the game, in my experience. Some people might rank him, like, 2nd best to a lot of party members, but I don't know, man. Just his versatility in battle is really good for the most part. In the overworld, if you push C down, he can lift you across pits and gaps. Hence why we waited until now to do that. We could get another Whack-A-Bump, but my item roster is filling up very quickly. Having a spare Sleepy Sheep is interesting, though. So we are going to head forward here. You're probably wondering why I'm not worrying about enemies too much. There's a reason for that. So let's go ahead and grab the Quake Hammer badge. It'll be useful because the Quake Hammer does 2 damage to all enemies on the ground and the ceiling, okay? But here's the thing. It's 1 badge points and 2 flower points, the same as multi-bounce. There is a big difference, though, in that, yeah. So, now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to unequip Flower Point Plus for damage dodge. You will see why. I think we'll keep Speedy Spin for a little while. Refund is probably a good idea. Hammer Throw, I don't know about that one. Power Bounce is pretty cool, though. So you're probably wondering why I'm equipping all those badges, and why I'm not trying to fight enemies with only like 2 star points left. By the way, that star piece I was talking about earlier, we're going to get that on the way back from Mount Rugged, okay? But we do want to get this out of the way real quick. Don't mind the Monty Mole there. You want to go across this gap and talk to this Bulb over here so we can get his magical seed. Again, the magical seeds are going to eventually be mandatory for story progression. They are not a side quest, even though they seem like a side quest. They are not such. Okay? So now, we're going to head over here, and we're going to have Parakarry help us across the gap. Now, the closest save block up to this point is pretty far away, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to take advantage of the N64 Switch Online app, and we're going to create a save suspend point, because there's going to be an optional boss fight coming over here. You see that vulture guy over there? Yeah. So here's the thing. At least I think this vulture is a guy. I'm not. It's kind of weird, but it's whatever. Just a darn minute. I've seen you somewhere. I say. I know that's a Foghorn Leghorn reference, and that's a rooster, but whatever. Semantics. Yeah, Buzzard looks at a wanted poster and thinks that you're Mario. Yep, very similar, I say. You look a lot like this feller Mario who's on Bowser's wanted poster. Now give, what's your name? So, if you say Mario, you should already know what's going to happen. If you say Princess Peach, it's kind of funny, but there's another reason why I did that suspend point. Let's see what happens when we say Luigi. Well, Luigi, Bard, you do look like this dude. Well, you're not Mario, I guess. I reckon you can pass. So, yeah, this is how you get past Buzzar and you don't have to fight them. But, we're going to load the suspend point now, because we are actually going to fight Buzzar. And the suspend point will double as a backup save block, in a sense. So let's go through all this dialogue that I already read through for you guys, and let's head back to the selections. We're not going to select Mario because, again, that should be obvious, and I will leave it up to you and your own personal playthrough to see that anyway. But like I said, don't expect anything fancy. But if you say Princess Peach, which is very hilarious, what's that, Princess Peach? You take me for a fool. Princess Peach is captured up there in Bowser's castle, caw. You reckon I don't know that? I say, you're asking for it, you big fibber. I'm thinking you're Mario. Prepare for your whooping. Honestly, I wouldn't blame you if you feel like maybe you would have rather have 20 HP for this fight. And I probably should have come in with Goombario, because I do want to tattle Buzzar for the, HP. So, this is Buzzar. He guards Mount Rugged. Wow, that's one big bird. Max HP is 40. Attack power is 3, but the attack power can range. If you get caught in the clutches of his claws, you'll lose 4 HP. I don't know why they don't say it. Buzzard has a lot of different attacks, okay? But he was hatching eggs, wasn't he? Is it possible that he's really a she? That doesn't stop a male bird from at least sitting on the eggs to keep them warm, right? So the wind attack is very annoying, because it will usually do at least 1 damage to you and your partner, which renders your partner unusable for 1 turn. This is fine, though, because we have Power Jump and Power Bounce. But we're also down to 10 flower points, so I don't want to use Power Bounce right now. This attack, spam the A button, and if you time it just right, you don't get any damage. But sometimes you will get damage from that. which is very annoying. I'm totally going to risk using the Sleepy Sheep. I don't know if this is going to work to make Buzzar fall asleep, but I can't think of any other situation where we can use that. And it worked. Buzzar is asleep for 2 turns. Birdie can go to sleep. So now we can swap the Parakarry, and I can finally show off some of Parakarry's battle capabilities. I'm thinking maybe I should take advantage of this breather to use focus, so I can hopefully have a refresh to use later on in the fight. Yeah, this fight's going to go on for a while. We've used Power Jump, so now let's use Shell Shot. By the way, Skydive is basically kind of like an aerial hammer attack, because it'll be 2 damage on 1 enemy in the air or the ground, but spikes will repel Parakarry. Shell Shot is basically bomb, but you can target any enemy, period, and it doesn't care about spikes. So, it's 3 flower points for 5 damage, which is a really good deal. That Sleepy Sheep definitely comes in clutch. So, I'm going to save the refresh because I still have like 14 to 15 HP. And we're going to use Power Jump and Shell Shot again in sort of a combo. This is what we would call pre-Toot and Koopa Buzzar fight, I would say. And there's also a slightly different strategy, I would say, if you wait till after Toot and Koopa because of the tools you'll have access to after that. It's very tempting to use Refresh here, but I'm actually going to weather it for 1 more turn and do a regular jump attack and then a Skydive, just for the sake of it. So, yeah, there we go. Timing is right. Next attack's going to be... Oh, it's going to be this attack again, which I'm probably not going to succeed. And... Ooh, I blocked it. So this is going to be practically a perfect refresh right here. So we're going to do refresh, and I guess this is the first time we're seeing refresh on screen. L-Star comes in and restores 5 HP and 5 flower points, which will stay useful at least until the end of Chapter 3, I would say, and by that point it'll be a little bit outdated. But the 5 flower point recovery is arguably the more useful aspect of it. So we're going to use Skydive so that I can get back to my combo that I was doing, of doing Power Jump and Shell Shot back to back. You see, Buzzar has a Feather Toss attack, which is very weak. So Buzzar has like 4 different attacks. It's crazy. And ideally, you don't want to see the Wind attack as much as possible. Or as much as reasonably possible, anyway. So we're going to get the Grab attack again, which is looking like it's going to barely succeed. Wow. So he's only got 7 HP left, which, I mean, it's going to be overkill if I do the Power Jump strategy. But you can buy honey syrups, to be honest, so I think I'm just going to use the honey syrup, because why not? We're going to level up after this fight anyway, so I'm going to use Shell Shot here, and I guess we're going to... Oh, Wind attack, huh? It's a good thing I used that honey syrup, and I do 2 damage instead, but it's whatever. This fight is basically over. I'm going to use a Power Jump, because, yeah, in case the action command fails, because this is the Nintendo Switch Online version, slight input lag, whatever, and we level up, and we're going to level up flower points, so now we have 15 HP, 15 flower points, and 9 badge points. As you probably figure, we're going to upgrade HP or badge points next. Yow, I got whooped! Whoo, boy. Yep, so hey, we got a boss battle in this episode. Honestly, I was thinking about it for a while. I didn't know if I wanted to do Buzzar right away or if I wanted to do it later because of the options, but then I remembered, oh wait, we have suspend points. So that's pretty useful. Now, Dry Desert is a large area with a lot of different areas. So we're going to talk to this guy over here with the fancy mustache. Well, hello there, old boy. How goes the travels, eh? I'm known as Colorado. I'm an archaeologist, you know. I travel the world. Balderdash. At the moment, I'm turning Dry Desert upside down to find the Dry ruins. And yes, my assistants have attempted to gather information in Dry outpost, which is near here. Yes, sadly, as of yet, we're having little success. All I need's a clue, and we'll be golden, old boy. Yeah, not much to say there, but let's swap the Parakarry, and now all of a sudden we go through dialogue again, and we get to deliver a letter. And there's dialogue for each of these instances. So, oh, good show. It's a letter from my wife. Oh, boy. Thank you ever so, old chap. This is just what I needed to give me strength to go on with my adventure. I know I'll pass this along as a spot of thanks. I came across it while I was immersed in the dig around here. So yeah, you get star pieces. Most letters will give you star pieces pretty much. Alright, so the simplest way to reach Dry Outpost is just to keep going east and follow this path. But we're going to take a different path because there are a lot of items to find in the desert. First, we want to head 3 paces south. This is 1. There's some blocks here that you can get coins out of, which is pretty cool. I think I might want to take advantage of this, to be honest. Yes. Good thing we used that sleepy sheep earlier because... hold up. I could swear there was like a hidden block somewhere around here. Or something like that. Supposedly there's like a hidden block on top of one of these rocks. But in the meantime, let's see what this guy's all about. Say hello to the bandit enemy. So we're going to use... let's swap to Goombaria first so we can get the tattle out of the way at the very least later on. And I'm going to use Quake Hammer. These guys have 5 HP. So, yeah. Little hard to block this attack, I find. There we go. Okay, actually, we're going to have to forego... Actually, no, we don't. We don't have to forego the tattle. We'll just use Quake Hammer again. We have 15 water points now. Which is enough to use Quake Hammer like 7 times in a row. Or something crazy like that. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and knock out this first bandit just so there's less attacks coming my way. And try to block this. There we go. Okay. So now I can finish them off with multi-bounce. So let's tattle the bandits. This is a bandit. Bandits bump into you hard and shake up your pockets. They can steal up to 10 coins, but if you attack them once, your coins will be back in your pockets. So that's pretty good. The bandits originate from Yoshi's Island. Remember when I said that Yoshi's Island is considered a Mario game by the creator of Mario? Yeah! That makes you wonder, doesn't it? Thankfully, bandits and another enemy we find in the desert still give solid experience, so depending on how things go, you could level up again, depending on your exploration route, as it were. Is there, like, other rocks here? Oh, yeah, there's plenty of rocks. But, like, I could swear there was supposed to be a hidden block on top of one of these rocks, but I don't know. Anyway, we want to head another space south, and another one after this, probably. Actually, here's another rock right here, but there's nothing there. If you see a rock in Dry Desert, try jumping around. There might be a hidden block on top of it, or there might not be. So we head 3 paces south, and now we want to head 1 east from here. But, yeah. Oh, and there's the other enemy I was talking about. It's called a Pokey. You do the Pokey and you what's it all about? That's what it's all about. Oof. Why did it have to be 4? Why did it have to be 4 of these? This is Pokey, an evil cactus. Pokeys attack by throwing parts of their bodies or by coming up close and falling on you. 4 HP to attack. For some reason, they're weaker than bandits, technically, but they have spikes. You can't jump on them. Which is another good reason to have Quake Hammer here. Yeah. That's what that's all about. So, 2 Quake Hammers will knock these guys out, or a Quake Hammer and a Power Shell. But Power Shell costs 1 more flower point, so if you can help it, it may be more efficient just to do 2 Quake Hammers, to be honest. So, yeah. There is something you can do to enhance the power of Power Shell later on, though, but that's probably not going to be relevant in this chapter, in my opinion. So, yeah, let's knock that out, and let's head 1 east. Speaking of items on top of rocks, there we go. That's what we're talking about. The Attack FXC badge. So now what we want to do is head 1 pace north from here. So having the speedy spin is also a godsend. Like, seriously. Alright, we're going to try and ignore the enemies now that I've shown them off. And we're going to head 3 east. So 1, curious about these blocks. Why wouldn't you be? It's free money, basically. I hope I didn't lose track. Is this going to be another coin block? I doubt it. Okay, we're going to head east again, and I believe east one more time, and we should be good. I'm noticing a lot of cactus around here. And here we have a blue cactus. 2 blue cactuses, actually. And a twister. Let's ride the twister because it'll take us to an inaccessible area where we can get the spin attack badge. No relation to Sonic the Hedgehog, I would say. And then we head over here because we stand on this block and we summon up Kooper to hit this block, and we get an item called a stopwatch. If it works, it paralyzes all enemies for a short period of time. Very useful. Actually, I think I'm going to keep Kooper for the remainder of the desert just for PowerShell. And from here, we want to head 1 pace south for some reason. 1 pace south, and then I believe we're... Oh God. Oof, well, glad we could take care of that enemy encounter. Another coin block. Isn't that just handy and dandy? And a tree that also has a coin. But if we head east... Oh, there's a tasty tonic here. That's interesting, so I didn't have to buy one earlier. Alright, say hello to the Oasis. It's a nice little spot. We have a heart block over here. Why did I have to... Oh my god. Yeah, there's a convenient heart block there, and this block might catch your eye in particular. This is a super block. With this, you can upgrade one of your party members. Yes, you can upgrade your party members. So, you have options here. You can upgrade Goombario and he'll master a move called Charge, which allows him to build up attack power. His main attack will also become like 2+2, so he can do 4 damage with a regular attack. That's pretty good. Kooper will master Dizzy Shell, which costs 4 flower points and renders all enemies on the ground dizzy, or at least they have a chance to be dizzy. And in this game, dizzy is the same thing as paralysis. Bombette will learn a move called Power Bomb, which is basically bomb at ground level, but will also have more attacks. She'll get more attacks. Same with Kooper. Kooper's attack will go up from 2 to 3 on all of his attacks, and Bombette, her body slam goes up to 3 and her bomb goes up to 6. So Power Bomb will be 6 damage to all ground enemies for 6 flower points. So if you're fighting at least 3 enemies, then it's a bargain. Parakarry will master a relatively useless ability called Airlift. But the important thing is that Parakarry, his Shell Shot will deal 6 damage, and his Skydive will deal 3. Which I think is the best party member to use for the chapter boss, as it were. So, we are going to upgrade Parakarry first. I'm not trying to be biased. I just do feel that Parakarry is a good one to upgrade. Maybe not the best. Actually, Goombario probably is solid to use for the boss. But in my experience, this is usually what works out best. So, there are 2 specific trees in the Oasis. One of them will drop a lemon, and the other will give you something called a lime. Lemon and lime, as it were. Unfortunately, we're running low on item slots, so I would love to get 1 more of each, but in order to do that, we're going to need to head out of here real quick. So from here, we head 2 paces north, but we also want to come back to this spot. I'm going to leave that block alone because we want to come back to that spot. 2 north, and here is basically 1 screen away from the Dry Outpost, but we have this letter over here, okay? And now that we have this letter, we can go ahead and head into the Dry Outpost proper. And say hello to Dry Outpost, which is going to be our closest thing to a town we'll have access to. Unfortunately, the item shopkeeper is looking pretty busy there, so we're going to have to pursue them into the next area. Keep an eye out for Chuck Quizmo, by the way. Sometimes he spawns around here. Alright, so we need to talk to this guy. Someone who gives things is nice. Yes, very nice. Nice guys get told stuff. So let's, you know what? Let's give him, the lime, for some reason. Ah, you give me something. You might be nice. If you're a very nice guy, you'll give me something more. Okay, so let's give him a lemon. Oh, heavenly, a lemon. The nicest of nice things. You have proven you are nice by giving me my favorite thing. I forget. I often get it mixed up whether his favorite thing is a lemon or a lime, to be honest. And since you are so nice, yes, I will tell you something really nice. How to see Mustafa. To find Mr. Mustafa, go to the shop in this town. First buy a dried shroom, then buy a dusty hammer. You must buy them in the correct order, yes. Remember, dried shroom first, and then dusty hammer. This is a secret sign known to those loyal to Mustafa. If you buy these things in the correct order, the owner of the shop will let you see Mr. Mustafa. Remember, you must not buy them in the incorrect order. If you still seek knowledge, you must give me something more. Yes, you understand? Well, that's going to be enough of that. But, yeah. Now we know the secret to finding Mr. Mustafa. Let's come over here, though, because we have access to, Merlee. Yes, Merlee. So she's sort of a fortune teller as well, but of a different type from Merlovely earlier. So, if you pay her money, she will, give you, like, a charm. And you want to go for the special course every time, because this is bang for your buck, okay? So basically, Merlee charms you, and sometimes during battle, and sometimes outside of battle as well, like right after a battle, she will enhance your result. Either she can enhance your attack power, reduce your damage, double your EXP gain. So if that happens during the chapter boss, oh my god, like seriously? That's pretty ridiculous if that happens, because chapter bosses usually give 30, so if she spawns, that's literally 60 experience right there. Like, dang, dude. So, yeah, that's pretty stinking good, all things considered. And she can also double your coin rate. But before we buy the items, we do need to store some items here. We're going to store the stopwatch. We're going to store both of the Whack-As Bumps, honestly. And we're also going to store the egg because that is something we can cook later on, now that we know about the cooking method. Unfortunately, I had to eat a nutty cake during the desert, but man, thankfully we have 3 fried shrooms to, pick up the slack. Kind of tempted to store the mushroom. We want to buy, well, let's get this out of the way. Dried shroom, and then dusty hammer. Buying the items only costs you 4 coins, by the way. And as soon as you do that, you can immediately resell the items for 1 coin each. So in essence, you're only paying 2 coins to progress to Mr. Mustafa. So, yeah. We also want to buy... I'm going to buy 2 dried pastas. This is the only spot where you can buy dried pasta, so yeah. Check 14 more items, that is good. I guess we really don't need to store mushrooms anymore, so maybe I should take a look at our inventory real quick. I haven't done that in a while. Yeah, any of these regular mushrooms I can probably just take out because we can easily buy those. So those would essentially just be taking up space. Honey syrups are a little more expensive, so... Okay, we got a backup nutty cake, we got a hot shroom. I'm kind of tempted to withdraw the hot shroom, to be honest, because at this point, that's all of my HP. We're also going to withdraw the power block now because of enemies in the ruins. And, we still got a Goom Nut. Yeah, I want to keep that Goom Nut, though. And I guess we can take out the honey syrup. And, wait, how much do mushrooms and honey syrups cost? 3 coins for mushrooms here, wow. So, I was thinking about getting rid of some clutter, but probably not going to get a lot of money from the mushrooms, but sometimes it's not about how much money you get, but about, getting rid of clutter, as it were. So, I think leaving like 1 honey syrup and 1 mushroom ought to be good, and we have plenty of healing items for the rest of it. I do want to get some, yeah, I want to sell this mushroom. We got fried shrooms. I do want to grab some more lemons and limes, but I'm probably going to do that off screen. Because we're going to end the episode here after we get Mustafa, or after we see Mustafa. Ah, speak of the devil. Quiz! It's everyone's favorite quiz master, Chuck Quizmo! Want to try the quiz? Then let's go to the question. Question: what is the color of the block you can break with the first hammer you got? That would be yellow. Although, actually, the other answers are hints towards other blocks you can break later on with better hammers. And we get a star piece for that. You've correctly answered 2 questions so far. Good luck next time. Well, so long, farewell, till we meet again. Chuck Wismo! I am not looking forward to the grind for 64 star pieces. Jesus. Alright, though, we have some useful items to collect here on the rooftops. Yeah. Keep going forward here, and there's another letter. A letter to the traveling Nomady Mouse. You're probably wondering who Nomady Mouse is. We'll probably figure that out towards the start of the next episode. But more importantly, though, there's this guy. Hey, nice guy. We meet again. I am glad you found me. Whoosh! I'm Mustafa. I'm the one you've been seeking all this time. When I'm out and about in Dry Outpost, I use the name Sheik. I can't help but feel like this is a reference to The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. It's always good to meet a genuinely nice guy. I meet people all the time, but you are by far the nicest guy I've met so far. Your name is Mario, yes. I heard that you want to go to Dry Ruins. I have a feeling you are on an important journey, so I will tell you the secret. Dry Ruins is a very important place. My ancestors have watched over it for many generations. If I do not keep evil folk out of the ruins, who will? You must promise me that you will tell no one this secret. I'll give you this. So we get the Pulse Stone for our trouble. This Pulse Stone is the key to finding Dry Ruins. Take it to the desert, yes. That Pulse Stone will flash above your head as you get close to the ruins. The closer you get to the ruins, the faster the Pulse Stone will flash. Follow where it leads you. Find the place where the Pulse Stone flashes the fastest, and use it to open the way. Do you know the way? Basically. If you know about that whole thing. Welcome back to Let's Play Paper Mario. In this part, we will be finishing off Chapter 2 after making significant progress in the last episode, even taking care of the optional boss, Buzzar, as it were. So I'm heading back to this screen north of the Oasis because this is where we can get a Life Shroom. Life Shrooms are a useful resource because when you're reduced to 0 HP normally, it's a game over. But the Life Shroom will restore 10 HP when you hit 0. It's very good. We're also accumulating a lot of letters, but mostly because we haven't really had a chance to deliver too many of them. But don't worry about that too much. At any rate, let's head back to the Dry Outpost path, and let's head west 2 paces. I want to say. We hit this tree, and there's nothing there. Nothing in that tree. But we head west 2 paces, and we talk to Nomady Mouse, because we found a letter for him back in Dry Outpost. So the Nomady Mouse is a traveler of sorts, and if you talk to him, he will be the one to let you know about the Oasis, which we uncovered during the last episode. And, of course, when you talk to the right NPC with Parakarry in your active party, a letter will be delivered promptly and dutifully. Duly delivered, as Parakarry would say. And 99% of the time, when you deliver a letter to an NPC, you will receive a star piece for your trouble, which is very nice. You're probably wondering what that 1% is. There will be time to talk about that, most likely in the next episode. So now we want to head north 1 pace to this trio of trees over here. Jump in the middle of them, and you get the Runaway Pay badge. It costs 2 badge points, and basically lets you keep your star points if you run away in the middle of a battle. Is it a good badge? I would say no. I would not recommend equipping that badge. Free honey syrup, that could be pretty useful. And yeah, you still want to keep an eye out for hidden blocks and whatnot. Coins, still very useful. At this point though, we've pretty much uncovered the bulk of what the desert has to offer. So what you want to do is head all the way north until you can see that you can no longer go north in Dry Desert. Because you want to go north and then keep going west. Try to avoid the enemies if you can, although they still give solid experience at this point, so it wouldn't be the end of the world. And you place the stone on this pedestal right here. There's an indent on this rock, wouldn't you know? And when you do, you unlock the entrance to Dry Dry Ruins. And there's a really nice animation for it, too. Yeah, it's a little bit slow. I will say that I like the touch that the aesthetic of Dry Dry Desert goes from daytime to nighttime quickly. It is kind of funny, though, because while it switches to nighttime for this scene, if you exit this area and come back in, it will be back to daytime, which is kind of hilarious. Yeah, and you notice that the Dry Dry Ruins has a lot of the chain shop aesthetic going for it. So we saw a chain shop silhouette in the Chapter 2 title screen, but we're going to see more about that. So now we got 2 honey sirts. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 items. Okay, so there's still other areas you can explore, but for now we're going to hit the heart block. So we have 1515, which is very good going into the ruins. We're going to switch to Goombario because all of the enemies in the ruins are going to be new encounters, for the most part. Bleh, bleh. I'm the huge, scary Tutankoopa, remorseless king of the desert. Who dare set foot in this, my palace of the sands? Speak and be known. Be gone from this place now, or disaster will befall you. So I made a little bit of a slip up in the last episode that I prematurely named the Chapter 2 boss, but it's not really that big of a deal because it's revealed when you first enter the dungeon anyway. At any rate, we already have a new enemy. Very similar to the Pokies from earlier, but there's a big difference here. These guys are Poke Mummies, okay? This is a Poke Mummy. Poke Mummies are Pokies that dried out and became mummies that went to live in the ruins. Same stats as a Poke. The only difference is that when you make contact with the Poke Mummies, whether they hit you or you hit them with a jump attack or something like that, you will get poisoned. Here's some good news though. Refresh, the Eldstar's star power that heals 5 HP and 5 flower points, will also restore your poison status. So it's not really a big deal if you miss it. Yeah, I guess Quake Hammer would be more efficient here because I would have to waste a turn switching the Cooper anyway, so I'll just use 2 Quake Hammers and be done with it, and keep Goombario. I should also mention that your poison status effect will go away at the end of the battle. It doesn't persist like it does in Pokemon, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, it just goes away. Yeah, barely scratch, honestly. I do find that the Poke Mummies will favor the projectile attack over the body slam attack in my experience. Anyway, there's going to be 2 more Poke Mummies in this room, so I guess I will swap to Cooper temporarily, and I'm going to knock them out and then we'll come back to this, okay? Alright, like I said, if you have Quake Hammer and Cooper's Power Shell backing you up, you take care of a lot of these enemies really quickly. Anyway, this is the Spike Shield badge. This lets Mario jump on a spiked enemy without taking damage. I believe it costs 2 badge points. Yep, it costs 2 badge points here in the original Paper Mario. I think they buffed it to 3 in Thousand Year Door for some odd reason. So we're going to swap back to Goombario. And I believe since we're down like 9 HP, or flower points I should say, go ahead and sip on a honey syrup just to top us off, because that's exactly enough to do a Power Shell Quake Hammer combo. That's going to come in clutch. Anyway, that's a lot. We're going to need to get a key over here first. Bueno. Keep an eye out because there might be some star pieces laying around here. I think there's only 1 or 2. But it still never hurts to keep an eye out for that sort of thing. We still have at least 3 other enemies to worry about in the ruins, though. One of them is a mini-boss type of situation, but there's still 2 regular enemies we got to worry about. The next one we are going to run into, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be an enemy, the reason why I decided to bring a power block into the situation. So let's head down here, and now we can go through this room, thanks to the sand. It's pretty convenient. Oh, you have ignored my warning, haven't you? You fool. You will fall to my legions and become a mummy of the sands. You know, when I first played the game, for some reason, I thought that Buzzy Beetle right there was the one saying that. Oh, by the way, say hello to a Buzzy Beetle. This is an enemy that was in Super Mario Bros. 3. So, let's jump on them. Buzzy Beetles are kind of an offshoot of Koopa Troopas, and much like Koopa Troopas, they can be flipped over by jumping on them or using a power block. Now, Buzzy Beetles in this game have 3 HP and 2 attack and 2 defense, which is technically a big improvement from a Koopa Troopa, although they do have 1 less HP for some reason. So basically, even if you just use your base jump attack and Goombario at his base level, you can still knock out a Buzzy Beetle with 2 attacks exactly. You can also use Quake Hammer, which penetrates defense. It'll do 2 damage to them regardless, and will flip them over. Or you can use a power block. It's pretty convenient. And yeah, flips them over just the same as a Quake Hammer would. But I figured I would bring the power block into the equation to show off to you guys. And you can easily finish them off after a power block, or you can use 2 Quake Hammers. Sadly, the Koopa combo, the Quake Koopa combo, I guess you could say, won't really work. Actually, it could, because you could do Quake Hammer and then Power Shell right after that, but that would be a pretty big use of your resources, because the Quake Hammer would knock them down to 1 HP, which would be overkill with the Power Shell, but overkill is as overkill does, I guess one could say. And we're gonna hit the switch over here. I believe this is where Star Piece is, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I just remember Star Piece being somewhere, and Star Piece isn't going to be missable ever. Yeah, there we go, Star Piece right there. I think that's really the only Star Piece I was thinking of. So we can come over here and grab this key really conveniently, actually. So, Bomb Bets, Bomb Attack won't do any damage to a Buzzy Beetle at all unless they're flipped over, which is probably worth mentioning. So, and I think Parakarry Skydive also flips them over, so I'm going to take care of this guy and be right back. So, interestingly enough, Parakarry Skydive will not flip over a shell enemy. I'm starting to think maybe Parakarry Skydive is more of a sideways kind of attack, which means that maybe you can hit spiked enemies with Parakarry Skydive. I don't really risk doing that, to be honest, but I don't deny the possibility, as it were. So we're going to have another series of 3 enemy encounters with primarily Pokemommies. So what we're going to do is I'm going to knock out the first 2. Alright, so after knocking out the first 2, I would say swap to Goombario, and let's try to get a first strike on this Pokemon. It would only do 1 damage, but it's whatever. The second battle introduces this enemy over here, but the super enemy, right? But it also shows up in the third one, so I figured I'd save it for the final one. This is a super, a ghost bat. Swoopers got their name because they swoop down out of the shadows. How original. 4 HP and 2 attack, the same as a Poke. What's interesting about swoopers is that when they start off, they are perched on the ceiling, which means they can only be hit by both of Parakarry's primary attacks, as well as a Hammer Throw or a Quake Hammer. So, what do you think we're going to do? The Quake Hammer is obviously going to do a lot more damage than the Hammer Throw at this point in the game. So, let's shake it up, as it were, and knock it down. Pokemon attacks, and then the swoop attack. It's a little tricky to block, but not terribly so. But yeah, swoopers originated from Super Mario World as well. In that game, they were green, though. In here, they're purple, which is an interesting design change, I will say. And we can finish him off with Goombario or Parakarry. Bombette and Kooper are mostly ground attackers, which is fine for what it is. Yeah, your partner selection is actually pretty balanced by this point in the game. You have 2 that are primarily aerial attackers, and 2 that are primarily ground attackers. So now we've tattled the 3 main enemies of Dry Ruins, so at this point, if you want to switch to another party member like Parakarry, you're more than welcome to do so. Because the only other enemy we have to tattle before Toot and Koopa is a mini-boss type of situation, as I said. Let's glide across this gap over here. Wait, come on, don't go in that room. Oops. I mean, leave now while you still can. If you continue, you'll feel a horrible curse. Yeah, so we're already at this room, and believe it or not, this is going to be another room. You see there's a block here and a big treasure chest. That's pretty interesting. So this is going to be another situation where I'm going to need to use a suspend point, and you will see why that is. It's actually kind of funny. But, yeah, there's actually more than one treasure in this room. The big treasure is what's in the big treasure chest, and I probably shouldn't spoil what it is, but you can at least try to take a wild guess at what it is. But it's basically something that will help you to destroy all of those gray blocks. Because obviously there's one right in front of the treasure chest that kind of gives it away that you're probably going to get something that's going to help you get out of this room. Otherwise, you would get trapped, as it were. And you're doing this puzzle by stepping on switches and making stairs rotate. It's a very simple puzzle, but it is possible to get stuck if you're not careful. Considering the age demographic that this game was targeting, or Mario games target in general, really. Okay. Alright, so we want to get right around here. A lot of time having to go through all that again just to get back. Jump down here, and there's another treasure chest here. This treasure chest contains the Slow Go badge, which some people may not be aware of. If you equip it, Mario will always move at the slowest speed possible. It's not going to be useful at all in this chapter, but in the next chapter there's going to be at least one situation where it will be. More importantly though, we've obtained the Super Hammer. The Super Hammer increases the damage of your hammer attacks and allows you to destroy gray blocks. That's it. But our hammer attack is now 4 instead of 2. What did this mean for badge utility and whatnot? Well, basically now hammer throw will do as much damage as a power jump, but you don't have to equip a spike shield in order to jump on said enemies. And we want to head back to this room because there is a gray block and these stairs. So with the newly obtained Super Hammer, I know we're backtracking a little bit, but trust me, there's a reason. We hit this gray block and we get this artifact. We're going to want to give this to Colorado during the Chapter 2 Aftermath. We want to head back and swap to Goombario because we are actually about to face off with the mini-boss that I was alluding to. Let's destroy this block, and actually we may want to swap back to Bombette, funnily enough. Here we have the Pyramid Stone. One of 3 stones you have to collect in Dry Ruins. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Bombette do the first strike here. Or we're going to try to. Hello? Let's, there we go. Much better. So these enemies are known as Stone Chomps. Let's swap to Goombario for the straight skinny from the source. Yeah, Stone Chomps. This is a Stone Chomp who guards the treasure in this room. He's made of stone. Duh. Max HP is 4, attack power is 3, defense power is 1. So Bombette's bomb attack will one-shot them, even without an upgrade. Super Hammer will do 3 damage at its max. So that's pretty good. They do have high attack, but that's really all they have going for them. If you have D-Down Pound, it would be one shot, but you would actually be better off doing Quake Hammer twice, because you would KO both of the Stone Chomps in that situation. And finally, we have an opportunity for Murley to show up and show us the maximum power Super Hammer attack, which does 6 damage. Funny enough, that's how much damage you'll do after the next hammer upgrade. Isn't that a funny situation? So I'm going to try, well actually, I'm probably not going to leave in the other Stone Chomp fights because they would be repetitive, so next time we run into an enemy encounter, even if it's repetitive, we'll leave it in because I'll level up afterwards. We no longer need Goombario until the boss fight though. So you might be wondering what party member is best to have for the Dry Ruins? Bombette for the Stone Chomps? Parakarry in general though, because this Shell Shot still hits the Stone Chomps just fine. Oh, but we need Bombette to blow up this wall. Naturally. Alright, let's blow up this wall. Really easy to do. And head down here, and we have an upgrade block. So you have options here. You can upgrade Bombette to get Power Bomb, and it's nice. But it's probably a little excessive for this point in the game. Kooper can get Dizzy Show, which is also solid. And upgrading Kooper will be useful for, like, the start of Chapter 3. But I think we're actually going to upgrade Goombario next, believe it or not. And by doing this, Goombario has a regular attack that does 4 damage, which is useful. It only does it to enemies that have 0 defense, however. But I think that Goombario could be, potentially, a very good secondary option for the Toon Koopa boss fight, as we're. And here we are already. I guess I'm going to leave this in too, because we're going to level up after this better. Right now, anyway, because you don't have to spend 2 badge points on Spike Shield and 1 on Power Jump. You just spend 2 on Hammer Toss. Alright, so we're going to upgrade badge points now, because if we need HP, I can just equip the HP Plus badge. It's whatever. We're probably going to be upgrading HP normally next. Why not? Because, yeah, let's head east from here. Okay, that's the path we don't want to do. Right now, anyway. So, we're going to head back here. I guess, skip the Buzzy Beetles. Probably not going to give that much experience right now. Turn back, thief! Your time is running out! If you do not retreat, you will be in grave trouble! I do not lie! You will regret it. Alright, so I think this is the order you're supposed to put stones in, but we can fix it later. It's no big deal. We need a key, though. And to get the key, we come over here. So I'm actually kind of wondering if I can try to cheese this by having Parakarry just glide over there. Nah, it's just out of reach. Rats. Rats aplenty. So you gotta jump down here, I guess, and hit the switch after destroying the gray block, and you get the key. And we're gonna have to backtrack to where we were. So this corridor right here will take you back to where we were. But there's a bunch of enemies here, so I'm gonna take care of the enemies real quick. There are swoopers here, as well as Buzzy Beetles, so Quick Hammer is gonna be really good, as well as Parakarry. So I will see you in about 5 minutes. And we're back. Okay, so something else I observed during those series of fights, if you have the Dizzy attack and you hit a Buzzy Beetle or any other shelled enemy with the Dizzy attack, and they're dizzy, and you flip them over with like the Quake Hammer, for example, or you jump on them, what'll happen is that when they get out of the dizzy state the next turn, they will still be flipped over. So that's relatively useful information to have, I think. Now we can hit the switch. We'll put the sand down where the key was, and we can go across that sand in order to reach the 3rd and final Stone Chomp boss fight. Which, you know what? I'm going to leave that in too, because at this point I already left in the other 2. So I may as well leave in the 3rd one. They're all forced encounters anyway, like I said, so I mean, it's whatever. I think I've pretty much left in all the forced encounters at this point anyway. This is my favorite stone, the Lunar Stone. Just because it's a blue crescent moon. And it's pretty cool. So, I guess it kind of balances out. I like that the Stone Chomps also give off a lot of coins. So we have 158 coins. It's pretty stinking good. So let's head back to this room and put in the 3rd stone and we should be good. Yep, we are good. Triangle, Sparkle, and then Moon. The Sparkle could also be a diamond, but it looks a little like too scrunched together to be a diamond. It looks more like a sparkle. Anyways, we're heading down to the heart block. We are coming up on Toon Koopa though. So you want to make sure Goombario is out front and center for the tattle. May even keep him out for a few attacks. You can buy a Thunderbolt item at the Dry Outpost. I'm pretty sure I showed it off. But other than that, let's go ahead and swap out the spin badges for HP Plus. And annoyingly enough, have to go back and use the heart block to restore HP and flower points. And let's head into the next room. But yeah, you can buy Thunderbolt and it does 5 damage, which is good. This is your final warning. If enough of this foolishness, leave at once. So that's going to be like the final warning, really. I don't think I really need to do this, but every boss fight, because it's a good habit to have, even if you're confident that you can defeat the boss in the first try. So, so when I first played the game, I thought this was going to be the boss, despite the name Toon Koopa. I thought the boss was going to be like a floating chomp with a robe and blue nipples for some reason. But no, Toon Koopa pulls off this crazy magic trick right here. You ignored all those very scary warnings. Don't you have the common sense to get scared and run away? What's wrong with you? You shouldn't mess with Tutankoopa, a faithful follower of King Bowser. Oops, I mean, you shall regret this. Alright, so we're going to get the title out of the way real quick. You notice that Tutankoopa has a bunch of empty Buzzy shells next to him for some reason? That's because it's an attack he can use. This is Tutankoopa. He's one of Bowser's followers, and he's been assigned to guard one of the star spirits. I've heard that he has sort of a Pharaoh complex. You think? Max HP is 30, attack power is 3, and 0 defense. That's pretty good. He attacks by throwing shells from that high perch. Try to dodge when he uses magic. Its attack power is 2 and it'll sting. It'll sting. And he can also summon chomps. Not stone chomps, but actual legitimate chain chomps, okay? The hard thing is who to attack first, Tutankoopa or Chomp. Well, with the badge setup that I have, you don't really have to choose. And our item selection is great. We have Life Shroom for insurance. I'd rather hold on to it though. Hot Shroom, recover basically all of your HP and enough flower points to do a couple of attacks. Fried Shroom, recover a chunk of your HP and enough flower points to do a power jump or a hammer toss. I'm gonna level with you guys. You can do power jump or hammer throw on Tutankoopa and it's the same thing, but here's one advantage. You can charge up your attack, okay? And that's pretty nice to have, just for this fight, because your hammer is upgraded, but not your boots. Come, Chomp, come! Bite this intruder! So here we are. We got Chain Chomp coming in with the clutch. I'm glad I charged up an attack, because I'm hoping this is going to work. We're going to tattle the Chomp, just for the sake of it. It's a Chomp. You've heard about Chomps before, I'm sure. The only thing to note between this Chomp and the Stone Chomp is that this Chomp has 2 more defense. So your Super Hammer is only going to do 1 damage normally. But if you have D-Down Pound, it's an instant kill. If you have Quake Hammer, and you charge it up, well, guess what? It's an instant death. So there you go. And then Tutankoopa will throw a shell at you. It does 3 damage, but if you have damage dodge and you guard, it only does 1 damage. Again, you can choose to charge and do hammer throw, or just spam power jump, or just spam hammer throw. But charging and then doing a Quake Hammer is generally pretty good. For variety's sake, we'll do power jump next. And just to give Goombario an actual attack, we're going to have him do a head bomb. Just show off that he does 4 damage now. Blech! I'm a magical genius. Watch and be amazed at the amazing Tutankoopa. Wait, now I'm doing like a magician accent. I'm not sure if you can have the partner block that attack, but your partner's going to be out of commission for 2 turns. Let's see, I'm anticipating a Chomp coming in, so I'm going to charge. And, oh, lo and behold, a Chomp's coming in. It's almost like I saw it coming from a mile away. But yeah, you charge and then do a Quake Hammer. You literally kill the Chomp. Oh, thanks, Merlee. This is going to really hurt. Oh my god. You think you could come back and double the experience we get from this fight, Merlee? Because that would be great too. Although, we're getting really good experience from all those Chomps. So I'm not even complaining that much. Something tells me I should probably charge up my attack here. And I'm going to swap to Parakarry, just so we have another party member doing something here. And then Tutankoopa's going to do his magic attack again. But I think this is something different's going to happen this time. He hits himself and knocks himself to the ground, okay? So first, we're going to have Parakarry do Shell Shot, because why not? Useful to hit Tutankoopa while he's still on his perch. But we charged up a hammer, and then we're gonna, we're just gonna hammer him on the head, now that he's vulnerable. Bada bing, bada boom. That's Tutankoopa, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you could have gotten a double, but still wouldn't have leveled up anyway, so there it is. Tutankoopa is done like dinner. Come here, Chompy. What are you? Help! So that's nice. I guess it's going to be a little while before we can level up and upgrade HP, I assume. But now that the fight is over and we're not going to have any major boss encounters for a while, I'm going to go ahead and unequip the HP Plus badge for now. We'll be chill. Honestly, we'll be chill for the most part. 15 HP will be fine. The great thing is, though, we re-equip the spin badges. Probably unequip Refund for multi-bounce? Sure, why not? And, honestly, I'm going to swap Hammer Throw for Power Bounce at this point, just because. Smash Charge Quick Hammer could still be pretty good in the future, though. So let's collect the card, and we've rescued the next Star Spirit in line after Eldstar. This Star Spirit is called Mamar, which is very close to Mana, which is probably weird for some people to think about, but it is what it is. But now, that is the end of the chapter, we're going to have another chapter intermission with Peach. This one's going to be a good bit meatier than the last one, though, and there's actually quite a bit that can be done. So we might actually be spending a bit more time in there than you might think.